I got to working here on this 360 Dodge motor for the little coupe, and I got a set of main bearings and a set of rod bearings. So I pulled this rear main off. It looks real good, and you can see there that this is Mark 20, and I looked at these and measured them, and it's a 20 under set of main bearings, so that's not going to do me any good. So I can see some rust down in there. You can see it on the camshaft. I cleaned this up once, sprayed it with penetrant, and so now I'm just trying to wipe out whatever rust I can find and clean this up. I got a set of rod bearings for it, and they're standard, and the rods themselves say standard, or the bearing I pulled out. There was a little copper showing in them, but they weren't that bad. So I'm gonna start putting rod bearings in. I'll start at this end and work forward, and we'll kind of show you what's going on. Here's the first one. I cleaned it off. You can see a little copper starting to show in it, but the bearing itself is good. Don't have any real grooves or scratches in it. The crank looks real good. So first thing I'm going to do is take the little thin screwdriver, punch this rod bearing out. I'll just rotate it around. Let's see if I can show you what I'm doing here. I look and find where the keeper is. Keeper's here on the top. So I'm just gonna tap that real gently, and the rod bearing will rotate right around the cap. I need to get a little thinner screwdriver here. There it goes. See, that bearing just rotates right out. I have tapped the rod down into the bore a little, and you can see the bearings moving around here. I need to get both hands to get it out, and then I'll rotate the new one in. Now you can see this one's got a little more copper showing, and of course this is the side that's a connecting rod side. So it's that's the one that's taking the pressure. So we're just gonna try to clean this crank up the best we can here with a clean towel. Better to use something that don't leave fuzz. And then I want to take one of these new bearings. These are Engine Tech, and I'll pull one of these out and we'll put it in. All right, I got the rod on. I oiled up the new bearings and put in there. Now I'm going to just use my wrench here on the low setting. And Snug my rod up. Now that's in. All looks good. Got my number 8 marks lined up here. Now I'm gonna rotate the motor 360 degrees and see how much see if I've got any extra drag or anything in it. And you rotate every time you put a bearing in, you rotate it around, and that'll tell you if you've got anything wrong. I don't like the way these look here. Seems like they ought to be square. Anyway, I'll rotate it and see what it feels like. Well, the second one looks about the same. No scratches, but I can see quite a bit of copper here in the bearing. The crankshaft looks good. Rod journal. So I'll just slide another bearing in, oil it up good. Put another one in this top, put it on. Number 6 come out pretty good. Again, we got a little bit of copper showing there on the rod side. The crank's got a little bit of discoloration. You can't feel it with a fingernail or anything, but that was from the water setting in it. This is probably where the crank was down, because these rods are pretty rusty, setting down in the water. But I'm just gonna oil it up good with fresh oil and put more bearings in it. There's that completed. I took off all the mains, blew them out real good. There was a little bit of evidence that water was in them, very little. I blew them out real good, cleaned all the threads, put them all back in. All of these rods have been, new bearings have been done. They all looked about the same. Little evidence on the load side, a little bit of copper showing, but no scratches or anything. The crank all looks good. I couldn't find anything wrong with the crank. There's quite a bit of rust in there in the bottom, the cylinder walls, and just, you know, kind of everywhere. I wiped it out as best I could, and every time I found a hole in the crank, I blew it out with air and filled it with oil, good oil. So everything should be good. I blew plenty of air in here and through the oil pump there. So there was just a little bit of water evidence in some of it, but I had already kind of blew it out and sprayed it with JB Blaster or whatever it is. So I think that probably got rid of all of it. I looked here at the timing chain. Timing chain looks brand new. It's real tight. Everything looks good in this motor except for the fact it's set in the water. The main bearings all look perfect. There's really no sense in changing them at all. I mean, I would have if those would have fit, but they didn't. So that's it basically for this. Now I'm gonna clean up all this this block here and scrape all my silicone off. Got a new pan gasket, and I'm just going to clean this up real good, and the heads here where they're dirty, and use brake cleaner and a wire brush, try to clean it up best I can. Put the pan on it, silicone it all down where it needs it, and I've got some Chrysler blue engine paint. Well, it's AMC. I got 2 cans of this. It was pretty expensive, but this is nice paint. It's blue color, and I might as well use it. Chrysler had it blue. I think this year the motor was black, but since I'm not really going to have sides or anything on it, I want to get this looking pretty good, because you're going to be able to see it. All this aluminum stuff will look good. It'll polish up. Maybe I'll do something with that. I don't know. Need to pull that pulley off of there and clean up all that. It was funny, teeth marks on the flywheel here are the dampener pulley, fan pulley. But the guy was telling me when I bought it from him, "Oh yeah, it's got good compression." How do you know? Well, I turned it over, and that's what he used. He's used a big old pipe wrench to turn it over. But it turns over good now. It's got that one little rough spot right where it was sitting in the water, but it's going away. I've probably turned this over maybe, 8 times, 9 times now, complete 360. And it's real smooth, and hits that little tight spot, and you can feel it's dragging just a little as it hits that where the rings were in the walls there. But every time I turn it over, it gets just a little better. What I'd like to do is put it together and put a starter in it, and turn it over by the starter, for like 2 or 3 minutes or something like that. Just kind of get it to wear in. But I'm going to put good oil in it, and I'm not going to have to break it in. I didn't see any rust on the cam. There might have been something got down into the manifolds. I got a couple push rods in there that are really rusty. But I think my lifters are good. I can feel them all moving. So once I get this painted and a pan on it, I'll flip it over and I'll pull that manifold off there, and I'll get down in that valley pan and try to clean up everything I got there. So that's the next thing. Get some cleaning materials, scrape what's left of my gaskets, and you can see here when I hit the oil pressure, you can watch those. Maybe they'll you can see down in those. It's blowing oil out on all of the rod bearings. So it's all plenty lubed up, and should have any trouble at all with this motor. Well, here's the first coat. I cleaned up the pan real good. I just threw some bolts in it for right now, and just painted the motor. I'm going to try to avoid my aluminum over here, and I'll flip it around here and paint the other side. I'll put another coat on this. This paint runs real easy, so kind of put light coats on, and then I'll flip it over and see if I can get some of these corners. Well, there's 2 coats. I didn't pull the alternator and fuel pump off yet. I've got a little place right up in there I need to paint. Looks like I got a little back of this here. Still needs to be painted. I'll do that when I get these valve covers off. But got 2 good coats on it. Looks real nice. Shiny. Blue. Like I said, not Mopar blue, but AMC blue. And I'll pull the rest of these brackets and stuff off of here that need to be painted black. Clean them up good. Paint all my bolts and stuff and harmonic damper black. But the main thing I wanted to get was the motor. I got it plenty good enough. Even got quite a bit inside the bell housing area there. Looks pretty good. That pan is a little funky. I just wire brushed it. I might just sand that a little after the paint dries and put some more on it, because that should be really glossy, I think. But I still have to put the pan gasket and oil pump and everything in it. I just figured I would do that now. I'll leave this alone, because probably when I start blowing all the crap out of the valley pan and taking the rockers and everything off, I'll probably get some stuff down through there. So I want to make sure that it doesn't stay in the motor, it goes out on the ground. Once I get this manifold all put back in and all the new wash or gaskets and stuff on it, I'll try to keep this camera pointed down. I drive myself crazy watching. I keep thinking, trying to tilt the computer up to see more. Anyway, this is going to be a really nice motor. It'll look a lot better once it's I finish cleaning it up, but I used about 3/4, almost a full can on it for that first coat, and I've got one more full can in there. So that's going to be good for this one. I'll clean up the rest of it tomorrow and finish painting it. Today it was a pretty good lick, you know, to replace all those bearings and torque everything up. It was funny, I torqued the main bearings, the medium setting on the air ratchet, and I didn't just really hammer them down. I put them where I thought they should be. Turned out they were 85 pounds. I checked them. I was in 5 pounds. Checked all the rod bearings. I don't forget what they were, 55 or 60 or something. And I put those on my little electric impact, wherever it's at. And I just guessed about what they should be. I torqued them all. I had to tighten one of them just a little bit before the ratchet clicked. So I was able to put everything in there to the right torque without a torque wrench. And of course then I found my real good expensive torque wrench. I bought another cheapo at Harbor Freight, AutoZone. Only paid 20 bucks for it. But then I found my good expensive torque wrench, click one. So it's all torqued up, painted. One more final coat and it'll be ready to go. Like and subscribe, guys. More times you hit the like button, better off for the channel. Subscribe, tell a friend, and I'll continue with this motor later.